huge breaking news tonight. Philippe Coutinho has agreed his move to Barcelona.
Liverpool stood firm in the summer, but we understand they have accepted a deal worth a staggering £145 million. But have they lined up a replacement already?
There's Mahrez. Oh, sensational. Fantastic goal from Riyad Mahrez.
So we start with the huge breaking transfer news. Philippe Coutinho has agreed to join Barcelona. We understand Liverpool have agreed to sell the Brazilian for £145 million. Discussions between the two clubs have been taking place for several weeks. Finally, the fee and payment schedules have been agreed. Liverpool bought Coutinho for £8.5 million from Inter Milan in 2013. This fee of £145 million would make him the second most expensive footballer of all time after Neymar. Coutinho was left out of Liverpool's training trip to Dubai and has missed the last 2 games with a thigh injury. And the news is that Liverpool have issued a statement as well this evening. They say they confirm Philippe Coutinho will be leaving the club after a transfer agreement was reached with Barcelona, subject to medical and agreement of personal terms. Now, James Cole has joined us here with the very latest. What are his movements then?
He's currently in the air. We understand he flew from an airport in the southeast of England earlier on about 6 o'clock. So he's in the air on his way to Barcelona. He'll land around about 8 p.m. this evening. He'll spend the night in Barcelona in a hotel, and then he could well be tomorrow at the Nou Camp watching Barcelona take on Levante. His medical is scheduled for Monday. Now, if all goes well, he passes that and it's all ratified and the signing is done, he could feature on Thursday evening. Celta Vigo is who Barca face in the Copa del Rey. He could play in that game. Just to give you a bit of background to this signing, as you say, a huge transfer. We understand the fee actually will be close to £146 million. That's the biggest ever received by a British club, the biggest ever paid by a Spanish club. He was subject to 3 bids, remember, last summer. Rejected, didn't go. There's a lot of speculation he might go. We understand that resulted in breakdown in relationship between the clubs, but also his agent, Kia Jarabchian. But after that summer transfer window closed, those relationships were resolved, talks resumed, and in the last few weeks, about the last 4 weeks, there's been meaningful negotiations, and that's led to this transfer. Not inevitable, but it has been expected. And, yeah, £146 million is the figure we think it will be close to.
OK, James, thank you very much indeed for bringing us right up to date with that.
Well, our Spanish football expert, Guillem Balaguer, has been across the Coutinho story. He believes Liverpool have got more money than they expected.
Barcelona have always made very clear, both to Coutinho and to Liverpool, when the conversation started being more fluid in the last few weeks, that they wanted the player. To such a point that you know, Liverpool, I think they would have started negotiating from 150, but I think they actually got more from Barcelona. I'm not saying they were desperate, but certainly they wanted to get this player. Barcelona are in a process of recycling. They're going to get rid of about 8 players, some of them certain names that have been regulars at Barcelona, and they need to bring the talent that will put Barcelona at the top. Barcelona have identified a lot of weaknesses, and one of them, of course, is a replacement to Iniesta and to Neymar. Coutinho can fill some of those gaps. It's quite clear that he had in his head that he wanted to leave the season, even if there was an agreement with Barcelona. Finally, it has been decided by all parts that the deal had to go through now. They see that he's more at the moment a forward than a midfielder, but they want to make him more of a midfielder. He's got the vision, the understanding, the intelligence to dominate games in a kind of role, as I said, like in front of Busquets, where Iniesta plays. And Iniesta cannot play 2 or 3 games in a row, so perhaps he will focus more into the Champions League, while Coutinho will continue keeping the level of Barcelona high in the league. When Messi renewed his contract, one of the conditions he put to Barcelona, and this is not in the contract, but he told them by voice that he wanted the club to continue performing at the highest level, to continue challenging for titles, and everybody agreed that the way Barcelona was going at the moment, it was getting old, and they need to reinforce the side. So 8 players will leave between now and the summer, and top guys, top players will come. Coutinho is the first one of them. Now they will try to get Griezmann, which will cost around €100 million more. figures that are amazing, really, but figures that belong to the kind of market we live in at the moment.
The news continues to come in. Barcelona are welcoming him on their Twitter feed. Nice picture of the locker door opening with the Coutinho shirt appearing. They are saying it's a 5.5-year deal and he has a buyout clause of €400 million. They don't want a Neymar happening to them again, do they?
No.
The former Liverpool captain Phil Thompson is surprised Coutinho has agreed to leave Liverpool this time. Despite the huge fee, Thompson isn't convinced Coutinho will get into the Barcelona team.
It's hard to get my head around at this particular time what Philippe is going to gain, because you can't play Champions League football. They're running away with the league. He's got the World Cup at the end of it. You would think he would... Will he play regular every week in Barcelona? I'm not too sure. That's why I'm thinking this will come for him. I think part of me was hoping that this would have got done now and he will go there in the summer and then he's going to get his wish. You can understand. It's a fantastic deal, by the way. If it's 140 million, it is quite astonishing money. We do need to reinvest it. If the right players are there, and I do stress the right players, we have to get them. I don't want them just to dive in there and you're going to get some strange name who you're not. You need quality, and it's got to be. You've got to invest it in quality, because otherwise, why are we going? You're losing somebody of such importance to the side, and then you're going to get a player for, 25 million, which doesn't get you a lot these days.
Well, Coutinho played over 150 games for Liverpool, scoring 41 goals. He created over 300 chances for his teammates and made 35 assists. So Coutinho scored 41 Premier League goals since his Liverpool debut, but how does that compare to other players that play in a similar position? Only Eden Hazard has scored more times with 56 goals, but Coutinho has scored 5 more goals than Christian Eriksen and 10 more than David Silva. Coutinho has 35 assists since his Premier League debut. That is 12 fewer than Mesut Ozil and 10 fewer than Silva. Christian Eriksen, Cesc Fabregas and Kevin De Bruyne have also created more goals. Since Coutinho joined Liverpool almost 5 years ago this month, no player has scored more goals in the Premier League from outside the box. Coutinho's 19 is 4 ahead of Christian Eriksen's total. If the deal goes through, as we are expecting it to now, as you can see with the big breaking news, Coutinho would be the second most expensive player of all time. Only behind fellow Brazilian Neymar, who signed for PSG in the summer for almost £200 million.
So could Liverpool replace Coutinho with Riyad Mahrez? He was left out of Leicester's FA Cup tie with Fleetwood today and has been linked with the move, but Claude Puel insists that he's happy.
I am happy with him, and I think he is enjoying his football. He is happy with. He's an happy man, and I discussed with him, and he's happy with to play with his team, and we try to develop a good play on the floor, and he likes this, and I think it's important, and. He have had a good result on the assists, on the goals the last games, and I think it's important to he keep this good focus and concentration until the end of the season.
So how does Coutinho compare to Mahrez over the last 3 seasons? Well, Coutinho has played 24 fewer times, has scored 28 goals, just 2 fewer than Mahrez. Coutinho has a much better minutes per goal rate of 192. However, Mahrez does convert a higher percentage of his attempts at goal. Mahrez has also registered more assists. That's 21 in total. They have both created over 150 chances for their teammates. But Coutinho's created one every 35 minutes. Mahrez every 50.
And further news coming in on this all the time. There are some quotes from the Liverpool boss, Jurgen Klopp. This evening on the Liverpool website. Lengthy statement it is as well. It's clearly very heartfelt, typical Klopp, really. In the heart of it, though, he says, I can tell the Liverpool supporters that we as a club have done everything within our means to convince Philip that remaining part of LFC was as attractive as moving to Spain. But he is 100% certain his future and that of his family belongs at Barcelona. It is his dream, and I'm now convinced there is nothing left at our disposal to change his mind. Philip has made a fantastic contribution to this club over his 5 years of service, and as disappointed as we are, he doesn't want to extend that. The relationship we have for him means with a heavy heart we wish him well. The player remained dedicated and committed to helping us win matches, producing good performances and training hard each day at Melwood after the summer window had closed, despite failing to convince us to allow him to leave during that period, and that level of professionalism reflects positively on him. There is a lot from Jurgen Klopp in this statement, perhaps if I go towards the end of it, and he looks ahead, though, for the club, where he says, "I have so much belief in the talent we have here already, and even more faith together with our owners that we will make continued investment into the playing squad, which will allow more growth and more improvement." So, as we bid farewell to Philip, we continue on our path of progress and development as we work towards our common goal of bringing trophies back to Anfield. So that is Jurgen Klopp saying that with a heavy heart they wish Coutinho well. So that is the big breaking news tonight. Philip Coutinho is joining Barcelona from Liverpool. He could make his debut as early as next week. We understand that deal is worth £145 million, and he has agreed a 5.5-year